Ever glide through TSA like a pro, then get stopped and told your $500 smart suitcase can't go through? Now you're doing airport math. Argue, repack, or toss a $500 bag. In 2026, newer scanners spot battery stuff fast, so I'm breaking down 10 electronics that get people stopped, delayed, or forced to toss or hand it over. And don't skip number 7. It's not a big gadget. It's something people pack without thinking. All right, smart luggage first. Here's what TSA cares about and how to avoid getting stuck at the checkpoint. Smart luggage is how people lose real money fast. All it takes is one question. Can the lithium battery come out? If you can't say yes right now, you're suddenly negotiating with your own suitcase. Here's the version that matters in 2026. Spare lithium batteries are what they really don't want ending up underneath the plane. So they'll push that battery to stay with you in the cabin, especially because your bag can get gate checked with zero warning. And removable means removable on the spot. No tools, no drama. If you need a tiny screwdriver, congratulations. You brought a suitcase that can turn into an airport problem. Do a quick test at home. Open the compartment. Can you pull the battery out with your hands in about 10 seconds? If not, don't gamble on getting someone flexible at the counter. One more thing, a lot of these bags hide the setup. That outside USB port usually connects to a battery tucked inside a pocket. If you don't know exactly where it is, you'll be digging through your bag while the line builds behind you. Best move, travel with the suitcase dumb. Remove the battery before you leave. Keep it in your carry-on. Pack it so it can't short or switch on. And check your airline's website. Some are stricter than others. That's smart luggage. The next item is something almost everyone carries, and messing this one up can absolutely cost you your flight. Keep watching. Power banks are the most normal thing in a travel bag, which is exactly why people get sloppy with them. At TSA, a power bank is a spare lithium battery, so it's carry-on only, never checked. If your carry-on gets gate checked, pull it out first and keep it with you. And if you think yours is safe, cool. Try answering this without flipping it over. What's the watt-hour rating? A lot of people already know the basics, but I still want to lock in the numbers that matter. Under 100 watt-hours is usually fine. 101 to 160 watt-hours is the zone where an airline may require approval. Over 160 watt-hours is basically game over. Now the real trap is the label. If TSA can't quickly read the watt-hours on the device, they're not gonna guess. I watched a guy pull out his power bank like it was a hall pass. I've flown with this forever. The officer flips it over, can't find the watt-hours, and it's a full unzip and inspect situation. He finished repacking while his group was already boarding, then did that little jog to the gate like he was late for a job interview. So make it easy. Use a power bank with the watt-hours rating clearly printed. Replace the label if it's worn off, and don't tape multiple power banks into one giant mystery brick. International heads up, quick. If you transit through or depart mainland China, especially on a domestic leg, your power bank may need a visible 3C mark to clear security, so check before you fly. And in general, always peek at the rules for the country you're flying through, not just the one you started in. All right, next up is the one that gets photographers, drone flyers, and I brought backups for everything people. Loose spare lithium batteries. Spare lithium batteries are where a lot of prepared travelers accidentally create the exact problem security hates. In your head, it's responsible, extra camera batteries, drone packs, backups for a long day. In reality, loose batteries are risky when the contacts aren't protected, because a short circuit can start from something as dumb as a battery terminal touching a key, a coin, or another battery. So forget the jargon and remember 2 words: covered contacts. Original packaging works. A hard plastic battery case works. Even taping over the terminals works in a pinch. What doesn't work is tossing batteries into a pouch where metal bits can roam free. Then there's the part people never think about until it's too late. Condition. If a battery looks swollen, cracked, leaking, beat up, or held together with tape like it survived a war, you're basically volunteering for a long conversation. Even if you're completely harmless, nobody wants that battery on an airplane. The clean approach is boring, and that's why it works. Keep spares separated. Keep contacts covered. Only travel with batteries that look new enough to be trusted. If you're traveling with a whole stack for a shoot, it's smarter to buy rent at the destination than to show up with a pocket full of loose cells. And after this is an item people swear is totally fine until it gets treated like a fire risk anyway. Cordless hair tools. Cordless hair tools are sneaky because nobody packs them thinking hazard. They pack them thinking, I'm not showing up looking wrecked. But here's why it gets flagged. They're built to create heat, and they're powered by either a lithium battery or fuel. That combo makes security pay attention fast. And as a baseline, cordless hair tools belong in your carry-on, not checked bags. There are two types to worry about, and the first one can cause trouble over one tiny button. Cordless straighteners and curlers with built-in lithium batteries. Most of the time, the issue is accidental activation. So airplane-proof it. Power it fully off, use the travel lock if it has one, and put it in a case that covers the buttons. If it doesn't lock and the switch is easy to bump, don't toss it loose in a bag where something can press it for an hour. And the second type, this is the one that feels like a real coin toss in practice. Butane or gas-powered tools. Some policies allow one under specific conditions, but enforcement varies and airlines can be stricter. And you can't bring extra fuel canisters, so if you were planning to pack refills, that's how the whole kit gets left behind. So what's the safest move when your schedule matters? It's boring, but it saves you. Bring a corded tool. It works everywhere, nobody has to debate it, and you're not explaining a fuel-powered heater at security. If you had to pick for your next trip, are you team corded and boring, or team cordless and convenient? Drop one word, corded or cordless. Electric razors and trimmers are funny because nobody thinks of them as electronics. They think of them as personal grooming, something that should be invisible at security. But these get pulled out way more than people expect, for a very unglamorous reason. They look suspicious when they're packed like spare parts. A trimmer buried under a nest of cords, metal guards, clipper attachments, and loose parts can read like a bag of pieces instead of one normal device. So make it instantly obvious. Put attachments in one small pouch, use the protective cap, and pack it so the switch can't get bumped. If the trimmer looks damaged, like rust around the charging port, don't travel with it. That's when a normal grooming item suddenly becomes a we need to take a closer look situation. And if you think that's already ridiculous, let me tell you about the item that feels so innocent, people forget it's a motor and a battery in a tube. Electric toothbrushes. Electric toothbrush drama usually doesn't start at the scanner. It starts in the line. When your bag makes that quiet little bzzz, that's your toothbrush turning on by accident. And once something with a motor is buzzing inside a bag, security can't wave you through. Not because electric toothbrushes are banned, but because from their angle, it could be a device overheating or something modified that isn't behaving normally. They have to open the bag and confirm what it is. So your job is to make sure your toothbrush can't turn on by accident. If your toothbrush has a travel lock, use it. If it doesn't, take the head off and store it separately. Or put the handle in a hard case that covers the button. One exposed power switch getting pressed for 10 minutes is how a normal toiletry turns into a checkpoint moment. But don't forget the add-ons. Charging cases, sanitizer docks, and those sleek travel bases can read like straight-up electronics on a scan. They're usually allowed, but pack them like a set case and toothbrush together, so it's instantly obvious what you're carrying. My quick pre-TSA habit is embarrassingly simple. Right before I get in line, I squeeze the side of my bag once. If anything inside buzzes, I fix it right there. I'd rather look silly for 3 seconds than have my bag opened with an audience. And the next category is where accidental doesn't buy you much sympathy, vapes and e-cigarettes. If you pack them wrong, you can lose the device and a chunk of time you can't afford. A lot of flyers have a vape belief that sounds totally reasonable. It's basically the size of my car key. I'll toss it in my checked bag and deal with it when I land. That's the mistake that gets people burned, because the FAA doesn't treat a vape like a tiny convenience item. It treats it like a lithium-ion fire risk. These batteries can fail fast, and when they do, It's not a small problem on an airplane. That's why the rule is strict. Vapes and e-cigs stay in the cabin with you, in your carry-on or on your person. If your bag gets checked or gate checked, the vape comes out first. No exceptions worth gambling on. And don't forget the liquid side. Your e-liquid is still a liquid, so keep it sealed, travel-sized, and packed the same way you'd pack shampoo. So you're not improvising at the checkpoint with a sticky bottle in your hand. The part that blindsides a lot of American travelers happens after the flight. You can bring a vape on a plane legally in the US, land overseas, and lose it immediately at arrival. Thailand and Singapore are very real examples. Importing and possessing vapes is illegal. I know a traveler who landed in Bangkok and lost his vape at the airport because he never thought to check local rules. So if you're flying internationally, don't just think TSA rules. Think destination rules and connection rules too. The airport you transit through can matter as much as where you end up. All right, after vapes, we're moving into the category that gets expensive fast for a different reason: drones and drone batteries. Anybody wants those epic aerial vacation shots, right? But if you don't plan this part carefully, bringing a drone can cost you hundreds of dollars. A coworker told me about his own trip into Atlanta. He got to the hotel, opened his suitcase, and saw the inspection notice sitting on top. The drone body made it. The spare batteries didn't. Instant vacation footage downgrade. Here's what matters. Spare drone batteries are carry-on only. But that still doesn't mean they're untouchable. If a pack is over the 100 watt-hour limit or the watt-hour info isn't clearly readable, it can get stopped. So keep it simple. Know your watt-hours before you leave, and don't travel with anything swollen, damaged, or on a recall list. Third-party pro packs are the most likely to get extra scrutiny, so they need to look legit. The drone itself is usually easier, but don't make it look like a DIY kit. Props off, gimbal protected, everything secured, so it reads as a normal consumer drone the second it comes out of your bag. International trips can be brutal with drones. Morocco is known for seizing drones without prior authorization, and Egypt can confiscate drones and you may not get it back. Check the drone rules for your destination before you pack, and sometimes the safest move is renting locally instead of dragging your whole kit across borders. If you've ever had a drone or batteries taken, drop a comment with the airport and what happened. Those stories help other travelers avoid the same hit. This next category isn't illegal electronics. It's more like electronics that look like they're trying to hide. I'm talking about hidden cameras and spy-style gadgets, pens, USB chargers, key fobs, even camera glasses. Why do these explode into a whole situation? Because it's built to look normal on the outside, while hiding a camera on the inside. And on a scanner, that mismatch is exactly what gets extra attention. And once your bag is open, it's not a casual chat. You're going to get the "what is this" moment, and you'll be expected to explain it clearly. If you hesitate or it looks homemade, you've created uncertainty, and uncertainty is what gets items held back. So how do you avoid it? Ask yourself one question. Do you feel like explaining this to a stranger with gloves on while a line watches? If not, leave it at home. If you genuinely need a wearable camera for a legit reason, like action footage, make it look legit. Keep it as an obvious consumer product, packed like a camera, and be ready to explain what it is without getting defensive. And now I'm going to talk about the one that gets people because it's marketed as airport safe, then still ends up in the bin. Rechargeable plasma lighters. This one tricks people because it's marketed like it's travel-friendly. Sleek design, no flame, just that electric arc, so it feels safer. But it's still a lithium battery device built to create serious heat, and that's a combo security pays attention to. Technically, TSA allows plasma or arc lighters in your carry-on if they're protected from accidental activation, but the final call always belongs to the officer at your checkpoint. With how tightly 2026 screening focuses on anything that runs on a battery and makes heat, I genuinely don't recommend gambling on it. If you do bring it, pack it like you're trying to prove it can't turn on. Keep it in your carry-on, put it in a case, make sure nothing can press the switch, and don't recharge it on the flight. And the inconsistency is real. People have cleared with the same lighter at one airport, then had it taken at another on the way home. Think Fine at Chicago, then confiscated in Denver 3 days later. Same device. Different checkpoint comfort level. If you want zero drama, skip the rechargeable arc lighter for travel. Bring a basic disposable lighter where it's permitted, or plan to buy something simple at your destination. If you made it through this list, you're already ahead of most travelers. Remember this: anything with a lithium battery that creates heat or looks disguised tends to get extra attention in 2026. Before your next flight, take 1 minute to scan your bag and check your airline rules. And if you're going international, check destination and connection rules too. That tiny habit can save you money and stress. If this video saved you from losing expensive gear, hit like and subscribe. And drop a comment with your worst TSA confiscation story. What it was, what airport, and how much it cost you. I read those, and they help everyone else avoid the same mistake on their next trip.